Hey everyone. So we're gonna do two recordings over 2 days about this question because it's so fundamental. First day, we're gonna look at this question. I was wondering what brings a switch from being totally lost in the experience to being able to observe it or be with it. We'll look at that today. And then in tomorrow's recording, we'll look at the protests that I've had from dear friends in this conversation about why the focus on suffering. Why can't you just let me be happy, Claire? Okay, so let's begin with what brings a switch from being totally lost in the experience, so a mind that is um, absolutely blindly fighting itself, to that observation of what's happening, to freedom, really. So let's consider what's going on when the mind is lost. And this really, I mean, it's once the beliefs take hold, age 2, 3 onwards, this is it. Until someone or something comes in and says, not true. Not true. That's not what you are. That's not what reality is. Until that happens, there's nothing, is there, that disrupts that believing. And so a lost mind, an identified mind, is the conscious experience of being, which is entirely revolving around a fixed, unquestioned idea of me as a separate, deciding, choosing entity that should be in control of its experience, its emotions, its thoughts, its body. And that me is in a separate, independent, objectively appearing reality. There's no question. And because there's no question, because this is just believed, all of life is an attempt to secure that idea of me, make it stable, make it something, make it lovable, make it valuable, make it successful enough, make it rich enough that it will have everything it wants and therefore be happy, be secure, be free in a world that is there to be controlled, a world of other people, events, circumstances that must be controlled somehow in order that this me can stabilize. And that's a lost mind. That is a mind that is continually at war within itself, because there's no idea that the me and the world are made of the same conditioning. They're made of the same wounds, really, the same trauma. And this trauma is creating an insecure idea of me, no matter how it might appear on the surface, how confident, how my self-esteem, all of that, no matter what's going on, in that believed separation, a totally unquestioned me, in a totally unquestioned reality, that separation is indicative of fragility, because it's based on something that is fundamentally not true. And that conditioning of limitation, which it has to be when it's saying this is what I am, and separation when it's saying there's me here and the world is out there, and it's a conditioning of seeking and resistance, because it's saying if I get enough, if I control enough, if I manipulate enough, I'll be stable. If I push away enough, if I avoid enough, if I numb enough, distract enough, I'll be stable. That is an unquestioned, ongoing, lived experience of what we are, and the mind is completely lost. Okay, and so the question comes in: what does it take? How does that mind shift out of that lostness into truth? And it seems to me there are several, because really what is the shift is really from one dimension into another, isn't it? It's from one paradigm of belief into a space where there's no belief, there is no self, there is no external reality. So the shift is sort of stratospheric, isn't it? It's like it transverse, like it change, like it shifts out of all known, believed world of form into a whole other a whole other paradigm of being. And how does it happen? Well, one way it doesn't happen is through seeking, resisting, through separation, through limitation, through strategies, through manipulation, through control. That's what we've been trying all our lives. And all that does is continually re-traumatize that belief structure of lack. Where it comes from is, first of all, the dead end. And this is why in the reset, we have a period of time observing patterns, observing the attempts, observing the cycle, observing the re-traumatizing, because there's a recognition that all of that activity, endeavor, exhaustion, attention, focus is literally creating the very thing that is being, we're trying to avoid. And so there's a dead end to that attempt to stabilize the self. That's the first thing. There's the recognition of the futility of it. We know we might see the damage done physically, mentally, in relationships, in the attempt to control and secure. Yeah, the stress of it, the tension, the resources used in that struggle. And so from the dead end, then now what? Because we still wake up, don't we, in the same bed, going to the same job, with the same family, the same bank balance, the same body. And now I think what we start to see is that every moment of experience is a gift that reveals what's true, every single moment, because all experience is a creation of the mind. It's a creation of what's been learned, of its projection, its beliefs in action, it's all meaning, association. It's an ongoing creative process, and the way reality appears, the way the self, the body appears in the mirror, all of this is an ongoing doorway opening each time to explore what is really true. So that deep exploration and the big questions: who am I? What is real? What is true? That's over and over and over again available to instead of the mind engaged in survival, now the mind is engaged in what it's really there for: deep inquiry, really like the dissolving of what's not true. And So one of the things is deep inquiry, full exploration of truth. The second thing I would say is absolute source accountability, which is so easily avoided in spirituality or non-duality. And in fact, often this conversation becomes such a escape clause for the ego. Source accountability is really saying, how is this perception, this body mind, this conditioning, this belief system, how is this creating this reality? How is the behavior happening here actually causing and maintaining the very thing that we most resist? How is the person or the thing I most resent actually a literal mirror for the behavior that's happening here? How is the ego actually benefiting from all these things that we would say we want to get rid of or change? Like, these are accountable questions that bring it in here. It ends the victim. It ends the child. This is spiritual maturity, when that ultimate accountability starts to be the way of life. It's the end. It really is the beginning of the end of that, of the child identity that is trying to secure itself continually in its helpless, hopeless victim state. So exploration, accountability, immediacy, presence, the healing through having the feelings that are there to be had, rather than numbing, avoiding, distracting. These are all ways that the whole system shifts into reality, into a healing cycle, into an accountable cycle, which that old lostness just cannot continue in that space. Yeah. So that's what I would say. And so and yes, of course, in the moment of lostness, there's just lostness, isn't there? There's just a mind believing. There's all the old child patterns playing out. It's just how it is. But if it becomes the purpose of our life to see what is true, and if every day there is some form of engagement with that inquiry, things will be shifting all the time. They can't survive this inquiry. They can't survive accountability. Things will shift, things will dissolve, beliefs will fall away, and it will mean that with each shift, there is a different set of reactions, isn't there? There's a different way of holding information. The reality is different. The behavior options are different. The whole platform, the whole foundation from which reality is experienced is different. So I'd say let's all of us turn the purpose of our lives into an undoing of what's not true. Not for any other reason than to live truth, live in truth, to align the experience of what we are, the behaviors, the thoughts, the beliefs, to the fundamental truth of being. And then we just see what happens after that. But that's why would we do anything else? There's nothing else to do than that. So yeah, so brilliant question. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Bye.